What's up, man? I'm in love. I'm in love. Yeah, yeah. Don't know I'm in love. That's a nice car. Although he hates me, I give him a compliment regardless. Feel me? I got something. I was thinking, right, that the way God communicates with us, right? It tells us in the Bible how the forms of way God chooses to communicate with us. You feel me? When it came to Mary, God sent an angel to ask Mary for her permission so he can use her womb, right? When it came to Moses and the Pharaoh, God communicated with Moses directly and instruct them on what to do and tell them that I am, right? So these are forms of communication where it's like God is basically asking you permission to do something for him. There's a space for that, you feel me? There's like it's like you have to, not vibe, but you have to be a good person for God to ask you for your permission. But when it came to the Pharaoh, who was a bad man, he hardened his heart. He made him become wicked so he could have the desire to chase after Moses and his people. So God did not ask him for his permission. He literally took over his mind and made him a madman. You feel me? Just like the people who were building the tower to Babylon, whatever they call it, the tower that to reach the sky so they can get to the God. God did not ask them for their permission. Guess what he did? He just forced them to do it. He went against their will and just forced them to do it. That shit crazy, right? Because that's how God communicates. But you know, those are just the two different points. Those are just the two forms of communication. Hold up. Two forms of communication. The one that God asks for your permission, which is very humbling, you know what I mean? The person that you pray to and bow to is actually coming to you and asking you for your permission. You know, you got to be a good person. You got to be vibing high. That's why we see people like Moses, Abraham, Mary, people who got class to them, who actually behave themselves and carry themselves with a little bit of respect. When God sees that, he will come and ask you for your permission. But if you're a bad person, God will actually play with your emotions and play with your head and make you do things that you don't want to do. It will be against your own will. That's how the Bible showed it. But there's a better character. There's a character whose name is Job. The one that God didn't even communicate to. Oh, God did communicate with him, but in many ways, like, you know, gifts and everything else like that. But when it came down to his test, God didn't communicate with him. What God did was he allowed him to be. He trusted him so much that he didn't even have to ask him for anything, or ask for his permission, or command him, or try to change his mind on anything else. He basically used the same tactic. That's the two forms of communication. He used the tactic of what he did to the Pharaoh, but he did not force himself onto Job or did anything to him. He had enough respect in Job that he knew Job was going to survive. It didn't mean that he wasn't communicating with Job, but he knew. It's like having a child, right? And you know, you trust in this child, you trust in that child long enough. Well, you believe in that child is not going to go against your rule, that you allow them to stay in the house by themselves. Maybe they was just 15. You said, you feel me? Sometimes, if I'm just throwing out numbers, it could be maybe even younger. But you trust them enough and you left them in charge of something that was important to you. You feel me? So God knew Job, whatever his name is, Job, whatever. God knew that he would pass the test. So when the devil came to, the devil, Satan, Lucifer, or whatever, came to God, he asked God asked him, like, yo, where have you been? Then he was like, I've been roaming back and forth looking for someone to devour. So he was looking for something worthy to devour. You feel me? Even the devil just don't go for cheap shit. You feel me? He's looking for something worthy to devour. You know what I mean? Like, just because you're a bad person doesn't mean the devil will be in communication with you. Even the devil, when the devil attacks or have a point of contact, he attacked those who there was a lot of people he could have devoured, but he didn't find nobody worthy enough. He couldn't take his mind off the one that was most worthiest. You feel me? Then when God said, the devil was the one who brought Job out. You feel me? So the devil had in his mind already who he wanted to destroy, but he couldn't get over the fact that he can't. That's what the devil does. He goes against the order of things. You they tell him don't go this way, he will go that way. Like he has to break all the rules. Like he has to feel like he's in charge. That's how the devil works. He's like very stubborn. You feel me? He has to go against it. Like when Christ came, he was trying to force Christ to disobey his orders. He has to always go against the will. That's just who he is. He has to go against the will. You feel me? So he asked God for to test Job, but God could have sent a messenger to Job and told Job, hey, this nigga about to come after you. Nah, God didn't do that. You see, that's one form of communication. Just because you're not hearing from God doesn't mean that he has abandoned you. That means that he trusts you more than anything, that he didn't have to give you a heads up. He didn't even have to send a blessing to you. He didn't have to do nothing for you. He didn't have to do none of that shit for you. He just let you be, and he knew that you was going to overcome. So do not lose faith in the battle when you do win, and God knew you was going to win. And say, I did it myself. God ain't helped me. No. It's his trust in you. It's the fact that he didn't say nothing to you. That is where your blessing was. It's like, oh, okay, I got this. I can handle this. Because some people's steps are already counted for them. So he doesn't even have to be there to fight your battles for you. I sound like a preacher. That's crazy. I don't want to sound like a preacher. I really don't. I don't like preaching. Anyway, but I just had to throw that out there. But the communication of God himself, you feel me? That's how God communicates. So sometimes when God is communicating with you, he's lecturing you. That means that you might need some more growing to do. You might need some more confidence. You might need to have more faith. But if God does not lecture you in any form or shape and you feel like you're in a battle by yourself, you're a grown-ass person, he trusts you. That's the best fucking gift you can ever have, that the person that you worship and everything else feels like he doesn't have to counsel you, he doesn't have to give you any blessing, that everything that you need is already in your hands. That's when you're special. But in the meantime, I'll let God counsel me, then I'll get to Job part, you feel me? But if I feel like I'm abandoned, if you feel like, yo, God is not here, just know that you like the oldest child in the room, and she doesn't have to even look at you all the time. She knows that you're going to be good. You're going to take care of yourself. You're probably going to take care of your brothers and sisters and everything else. So she doesn't always have to attend to you. She's going to attend to the smallest one. That's where attention is, because the smallest one are a little wild. They run all over the place. They're happy to be on earth. Type of shit like that. Breaking everything in the house. So you got to watch those people, especially if they're good, if God see value in them. That's why he's saying counselors. Every point of contact, even when he said an angel or he came himself, those people were important to him. They had a mission to complete and he chose them. You feel me? But Job and some others in the Bible, I forgot their names, I ain't even gonna lie, God didn't even have to have a contact with them. The story was just about them and them alone, because their steps were counted in front of them. But I gotta go. 8 minutes is good enough for this recording. All right, well.